Peace be upon you and welcome to the annual Truth Promoters Ashura program for this year 2025, which corresponds to the lunar year 1447. We welcome you to a program the likes of which we are sure you have never experienced before. A Muharram program with substance, with culture, with emotion, and entirely in English. Tonight is the 8th of Muharram. We would like to start the program this evening with a recitation from the Quran in English. The verses being recited will be displayed on the screen during the recitation, but for the benefit of those who are listening, they are: number 1, Surah al-Zumar, the chapter of the throngs, 39th chapter of the Quran, verse 53. Number 2, Surah al-Araf, the chapter of the heights, 7th chapter of the Quran, verse 172. Number 3, Surah al-Nisa, the chapter of the women, 4th chapter of the Quran, verse 165. Number 4, Surah al-Baqarah, the chapter of the cow, 2nd chapter of the Quran, verse number 18. And number 5, Ziyarat Jamia al-Kabirah. This segment will be available on the Islamic Digest, located at www.islamicdigest.org.
In the name of God, the Merciful, the especially merciful. Say, O my servants who have wronged their own souls, do not despair of God's mercy. God forgives all sins. He is the most forgiving, the most merciful. And remember when your Lord brought forth from the children of Adam, from their loins, their descendants, and made them bear witness against themselves. Am I not your Lord? They said, yes, we bear witness. This was so that you would not say on the day of judgment, we were unaware of this. Messengers sent as bearers of good news and as warners, so that people would have no excuse before God after their coming, and God is ever mighty, ever wise. Deaf, dumb and blind, so they do not return to the right path. Peace be upon those who call others towards God.
The next part of our program is a short set of poetic couplets. These have been inspired by Quranic verses related to, number 1, the divine majesty of God, number 2, Ahl al-Bayt, or the holy household of the Prophet Muhammad. Number 3, verses on clarification, or Tabyeen, the primary subject of our sessions this Muharram. And number 4, a line from one of the various visitation prayers, also known as Ziyarat, to Imam Hussein and the Ahl al-Bayt. The verses that inspired the couplets for today are: number 1, Surah al-Zumar, the chapter of the throngs, 39th chapter of the Quran, verse number 53. Number 2, Surah al-Araf, the chapter of the heights, 7th chapter of the Quran, verse 172. Number 3, Surah al-Nisa, the chapter of the women, 4th chapter of the Quran, verse number 165. Number 4, Surah al-Baqarah, the chapter of the cow, 2nd chapter of the Quran, verse number 18. And number 5, Ziyarat Jamia al-Kabirah. This segment will be available on the Islamic Digest, located at www.islamicdigest.org.
In the name of the one whose mercy knocks even at close hearts. He is the caller of dawns, who pleads with creations before it condemns itself. He raised the banner of warning, so none could say, we did not know. He stood where truth was clear and called to the deaf with eyes wide open. Peace be upon the voice that over paradise, to those already bound for fire.
Now we will have our main lecture for this evening. Our series this year is about Tabyeen, or the struggle for clarification. The subject for this, the 8th session in this series, is the subjects in need of clarification. This segment will be available on the Reflections, located at www.reflections313.com.
I think it's good we start with Surah Al-Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, maliki yawm al-din, iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, ihdinas sirata al-mustaqim, sirata alladhina an'amta alayhim, ghayri al-maghdubi alayhim, wad-dallin. Sadaqallahu al-aliyyul azim. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين، ولعن الله ولا أعدائهم أجمعين من الأولين والآخرين، آمين يا رب العالمين. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك عليكم منا جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار ولا جعله الله آخر العهد منا لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. Peace be upon you, O Aba Abdullah, and upon the souls who have gathered in your courtyard. Upon you, from us all, is the peace of God forever, for as long as we remain and as long as night and day endure. And may God never make this our last pledge to visit you. Peace be upon Hussein, and upon Ali, the son of Hussein, and upon the children of Hussein, and upon the companions of Hussein. Assalamu alaikum Jamia wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So this is the 8th session in our series of sessions for the nights of Ashura and Arba'een on the subject of Tabyeen or clarification. As with all of our other sessions, such as those on patience, on the lantern of the path, or on the art of supplication, it is strongly recommended that anyone consuming this, at the very least, review the previous sessions prior to consuming this one. This is because of the nature of the discussion, and the manner of discourse really requires that each part build upon the ones that came before, so as to avoid any confusion, misunderstanding, and any invalid assumptions that can lead to what would be the antithesis of Tabyeen or clarification. While we do have a recap for each session, the recap is highly summarized, and to get the full nuance, the previous sessions will need to be consumed, studied, and reflected upon. Nevertheless, if I can get a salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, we can have a quick recap of the previous session.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
So the previous session, we spoke about methods and types of clarification. And we expanded our exploration of Tabyeen from the internal ethics of the clarifier to the external methods through which the truth is communicated effectively. Grounded in Quranic wisdom, prophetic tradition, and the insights provided by Imam Khamenei, we identified several essential pathways for clarification. We affirm that clarification is not mere speech, but rather it's a divine responsibility and a sacred invitation or da'wah, demanding wisdom, demanding sensitivity, and deep spiritual insight. Drawing inspiration from the prophetic model, we recalled Imam Ali's description of the Prophet as a physician who carried healing precisely to where it was most needed. True clarifiers similarly diagnose societal and spiritual ailments, prescribing truth with compassion and discernment. The importance of audience sensitivity was stressed. Real clarification requires understanding the listener's intellectual and emotional context. Speaking not merely to inform, but to resonate and inspire genuine transformation. We emphasize that effective communication must be rooted in empathy and kindness, consistent with the Quranic injunction to speak beautifully and meaningfully. We also examine the irreplaceable power of face-to-face interaction, recognizing the prophetic tradition of direct, personal engagement. Yet acknowledging contemporary realities, we noted that restrictions and monopolization in many centers and masajids necessitates creative alternatives. In such circumstances, digital platforms, webinars, virtual conferences, and online education have become essential tools of clarification, though they must always remain, in as far as is possible, complementary to real-world interactions. Indirect methods of communication were highlighted as profoundly effective: subtle symbolism, exemplary conduct, artistic expression, and storytelling. Such methods enable truth to enter hearts gently but deeply, bypassing barriers that direct confrontation might reinforce. The session further underscored the need for strategic collective engagement through intellectual committees and knowledge-based circles. Imam Khamenei stressed that as spaces of disciplined reflection, collaboration, and thoughtful planning, countering the chaotic impulses often associated with ideological warfare. Finally, we explored the indispensable role of modern media and content production, film, visual storytelling, digital platforms, in articulating and preserving the narrative of truth, recognizing that today's ideological battlefield largely resides within the realm of the media. We urge the necessity of reclaiming these spaces with sincerity, creativity, and strategic clarity. In essence, our methods must always reflect our message. True clarification is disciplined, spiritually rooted, strategically delivered, and carried out as an act of devotion. It honors the legacy of Prophet Muhammad and the Ahlul Bayt, embodying not mere communication, but rather sacred service. Please give me a salawat and we move on to the main part of today's session, which is about the subjects that are in need of clarification.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
So the act of tabyeen, of clarification, is not a mere academic function. It is a sacred duty embedded in the Quranic mandate and the prophetic tradition. However, before one embarks upon this mission, a vital question must be asked. What is it that must be clarified? It is not enough to speak. It is not even enough to speak truthfully. The duty is to speak what is most needed, at the time it is needed, with the clarity, courage, and spiritual depth the moment demands. The Quran reminds us of this divine standard. In Quran, in Surah al-Kahf, the chapter of the cave, the 18th chapter of the Quran, verse number 29, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, "And say, the truth is from your Lord." To say the truth is one thing. To know which truth must be said now and at what cost is another matter entirely. In every age, the enemies of truth attack certain foundations, and so the divine response must prioritize those very points. When Tawheed is under attack, it must be clarified. When the authority of Ahlul Bayt, peace and blessings be upon them, is denied or distorted, it must be clarified. When secular ideologies penetrate the hearts and minds of the believers, and when wilayah is pushed to the margin of religious discourse, those must become the subjects of our speech. The believer must not be a passive commentator on safe topics. The speaker, the writer, the scholar, they are not meant to play the role of a cultural ornament or an entertainer. They are meant to be the heirs of the prophetic role. In Quran, in Surah al-Ahzab, the chapter of the Confederates, 33rd chapter of the Quran, verse number 39, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, "Those who convey the messages of God and fear Him, and do not fear anyone but God." It is not difficult to find someone speaking. What is rare is the one who speaks with precision, relevance, and fearlessness. Many may deliver lengthy speeches on arcane theological points or commentaries on ritual, while the real ideological battle over the soul of Islam rages unanswered. Their words may be technically correct, but strategically misplaced. As Imam Ali, peace and blessings be upon him, has said, and this is again from Nahj al-Balagha, and as with all of these sessions, the write-up contains all of the citations and references, and I recommend everyone take a look at the write-ups as well. So Imam Ali says, "Speech is in the heart, and the tongue is only a sign of what is in the heart." True clarification is not about filling time or pleasing an audience. It is about carrying the burden of the message, whether it is welcomed or whether it is resisted. It is about striking where the confusion lies. It is about lifting the veils that have been deliberately cast over the light of truth. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq, peace and blessings be upon him, described the duty of speaking clearly in the face of danger. A man speaking the truth, whether it is for or against him, is an act of worship. So again, we ask, not as a rhetorical question, but as a divine imperative. What is it that must be clarified today? Is it the rules of ablution? Or is it the divine system of governance? Is it the method of ritual prayer? Or is it the protection of Muslim identity against the ideological warfare of modern jahiliyyah or ignorance? Is it the historical minutiae? Or is it the clarification of the role of the imam and the distortion of religion under the guise of reform? These are not accusations, but soul-searching questions, and they must be asked with honesty. For if the field of clarification is not rightly prioritized, then confusion will prevail, and our speeches, no matter how eloquent, will become background noise in a world drowning in deception. This question is not posed in order to wound or cause discomfort. Rather, it is posed because our responsibility is sacred, and the sacred deserves precision. Let us now look at the priorities of clarification. So what are the subjects that must be clarified today? This question can only be answered by understanding the current intellectual battlefield. Clarification must address the threats of the time, not the theoretical debates of the past, nor the peripheral topics of comfort or convenience. What requires clarification today is what is under direct assault, such as the identity of the Muslim, the system of divine leadership or wilayah, the relationship between religion and politics, the distortion of religious thought, and the dismantling of Quranic civilization under the banner of modernity. In every age, there are central truths that the enemies of truth target first, because these truths uphold the dignity, coherence, and direction of the community of the Ummah. To leave them undefended is to surrender the heart of Islam while polishing its outer shell. The Holy Quran gives a very powerful metaphor for this principle. In Quran, in Surah Ibrahim, the chapter of Prophet Abraham, 14th chapter of the Quran, verse number 24. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, God sets forth a parable. A good word is like a good tree. Its roots are firm and its branches reach to the sky. The enemy does not waste effort pruning leaves. It targets the root. And so must we in our clarification. Many, unfortunately today, fall into the error of misplaced focus. They clarify issues that may once have been contentious, but are no longer a source of mass confusion. For example, explaining the obligation of prayer or the virtues of fasting, while noble and necessary in certain contexts, is not a sufficient response to an era in which the very role of Islam in society is being questioned. The line between truth and falsehood is being blurred, and the Ummah is being intellectually disarmed. This is not a modern dilemma. Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, peace and blessings be upon him, in his letter to Malik al-Ashtar, warned against scholars who focus on technicalities while neglecting the crisis of justice and governance. Najwalaga Amir al-Mu'mineen, he writes, verily the most wretched of people in the sight of God on the day of judgment is the tyrannical leader who leads others astray and leaves behind a legacy of oppression for the Ummah to bear. This is the standard. Clarify what protects the Ummah, not what earns applause or avoids controversy. It is reported from Imam Baqir, who says, whoever interprets a verse of the Book of God based on his own opinion has committed disbelief. The implication is clear. Clarification is not personal opinion or cultural appeasement. It is anchored in divine purpose and must serve the aims of the prophets and the imams. So we must ask, are we clarifying what God expects of us now? Or are we fleeing the battlefield under the guise of neutrality? If wilaya is being ridiculed and denied in public discourse, but we remain focused on minor jurisprudential details that are already well understood, then our silence is not caution. It is in fact negligence. If the system of Taghut, or false authority, is being legitimized before our very eyes, and we fail to clarify the difference between divine justice and political manipulation, then we are not scholars, we are mere shadows. This does not mean that jurisprudence, theology, or spirituality have no role. On the contrary, they are essential, but they must be wielded in response to the need of the hour. When the ummah is bleeding from ideological confusion, we must offer the medicine that heals, not the one that soothes the symptoms already cured. Imam Sadiq has taught us, when the scholar does not act upon his knowledge, his admonitions slip from the hearts just as rain slips from a polished stone. The speech of such a person may be technically correct, even beautiful, but it has no weight because it misses the moment. So let it be known today, clarification must prioritize the root causes of deviation. It must confront false modernities, expose ideological colonization, reaffirm the necessity of divine governance, and restore the rightful role of Islam as a system of life, not a private belief. Anything less is cosmetic scholarship in a time of an existential war. Please give me a salawat and we move to the subject of the danger of irrelevant speech.
اللهم صل على محمد
اللهم صل على
وآل
محمد
محمد.
وآل محمد.
It must be said, and said clearly, that one of the greatest misfortunes of our time is the phenomenon of scholars, speakers, and intellectuals who speak frequently, yet say very little that actually matters. They do not lie, nor do they intentionally misguide. Their speech may be accurate, eloquent even emotionally stirring, but it is irrelevant to the central crisis of the age. This irrelevance is not harmless. It is a form of dereliction, because it creates the illusion that the duty of clarification is being fulfilled, while the truths that require defense are left abandoned. Imam Ali once remarked on the tragedy of misplaced priorities. Again, from Nahj Balagha, Imam Ali says, "The beginning of tribulations lies in desires that are followed and rulings that are innovated in contradiction to the Book of God." When the religious discourse avoids clarifying the roots of fitna, corruption, or sedition, and instead becomes a platform for safe, socially accepted commentary, the entire purpose of religious leadership is compromised. The speaker becomes a tranquilizer rather than a truth teller. He soothes the audience while the fire around them rages. This condition stems from a profound lack of courage and insight. Some fear public backlash. Others fear the displeasure of institutions or donors or regimes. Many prefer the praise of the people to the approval of God, even if subconsciously. But in all cases, the result is the same: irrelevance masquerading as religious service. The Quran warns of those who fail to uphold divine duty out of fear. In Quran, in Surah Al-Ma'idah, the chapter of the table spread, 5th chapter of the Quran, verse number 44, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, "So do not fear the people, but fear me." And Imam Baqir, peace and blessings be upon him, described the hallmark of the true scholar in contrast. Whoever acts upon what he knows, God will teach him what he does not know. Action brings insight, but cowardice breeds confusion. A scholar who consistently avoids the core issues of his time the issues the enemies of Islam are actively distorting, cannot claim to be fulfilling the duty of Tabyeen, or clarification. At best, he is a recorder of tradition. At worst, a silent accomplice to the distortion. Now, this is not a call for recklessness. It is a call for intelligent, courageous prioritization. We must understand where the enemy is investing its energy, and we must counter it precisely there. When our adversaries are spreading falsehood about divine leadership, Islam's political vision, or the role of the Imam, and we respond with sermons on minor rulings or abstract theology, then we are not resisting, we are surrendering the field. In times of ideological warfare, misplaced speech is not neutral. It is a form of capitulation. This was the quality of the enemies of Imam Hussein, peace and blessings be upon him. They prayed, they fasted, they recited the Quran, some of them had memorized the Quran, but they remained silent when truth required speech, and spoke only when it served their own interests, their own comfort, or their own careers. As Ziyarat Ashura describes, "O God, keep your mercy away from the nation or the people or the community who heard of these events and were content with them," meaning remained silent in the face of them. To hear, to know, and to remain silent, or to speak of something else, is to be complicit. We must not allow our words to become distractions. We must not allow our speech to soothe when it should awaken. Clarification is not a decorative act. It is an intervention. And if we fail to intervene where the pain is most acute, we risk becoming religious bystanders while the ummah, the community, bleeds out. Let us now look at the role of timing and context. There are many times when a topic in and of itself is sound and valuable. It may be rooted in Quranic verses, validated by hadith, or drawn from the lives of the righteous. But if it is raised at the wrong moment, or in place of something more urgent, it becomes a form of distraction, even if unintentionally. The effectiveness of Tabyeen is not just measured by the truth of the message, but by the timing and context in which it is delivered. Speaking a truth that is already known, or one that addresses a secondary concern, while a greater crisis looms, fails to fulfill the divine purpose of speech. Imam Ali, peace and blessings be upon him, has warned of this imbalance. Again, this is from Nahj Balagha, where Imam Ali says, "There is no opinion for the one who is not obeyed, and no benefit in advice that is not listened to, and speech at the wrong time is mere babble." The criterion of relevance is not merely subject matter. It is the condition of the people and the need of the age. A society plagued by doubt about, for example, imamah, cannot be rescued by a seminar on spiritual etiquette. A generation confused about the role of Islam in governance will not be guided by abstract theological commentary. Speech may be true, but it will be out of place. The Quran affirms that even prophetic speech was shaped by divine timing. In Surah Taha, the chapter of Taha, 20th chapter of the Quran, verse 114, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, "And do not hasten with the Quran before its revelation is completed to you." Even the Messenger of God, peace and blessings be upon him and his family, was commanded to be mindful of when to speak and when to wait, because the impact of guidance depends on its timing. Today, many address religious topics without examining what the moment requires. They choose their sermons based on what is non-controversial, what is popular, or what is rehearsed. But clarification is not about comfort. It is about cure. It is about reading the landscape of confusion and responding with surgical precision. We must ask, what is our society confused about? What are our youth being exposed to? What distortions are taking root in the Muslim consciousness? If our speech does not address these, then we are not engaged in clarification. Rather, we are engaged in delay. Imam Sadiq, peace and blessings be upon him, has taught, a scholar is not a scholar until he understands his time and its people. To know the books is not enough. One must know the zeitgeist, the spirit of the age, and confront it with clarity and courage. This is why clarification is not only about content, it is about situational awareness, knowing what must be said now, who must hear it, and how it must be delivered. Anything less is mere religious recitation. Let the mu'min or the believer, the scholar, the da'i, the preacher, and the activist all ask themselves, am I speaking what the people need? Or what am I comfortable delivering? Am I addressing what the enemies of truth are distorting? Or am I rehearsing inherited knowledge in a vacuum? The answer to that will determine whether our speech becomes light in the darkness or just another sound in the noise. Please give me a salawat and we move to the politics of silence.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
We must also recognize that the crisis of misdirected speech is not always rooted in ignorance or negligence. Often it is deliberate. It is shaped by power, fear, and the unspoken politics that govern religious institutions. Many speakers know what ought to be clarified, but they do not say it. Not because they doubt its truth, but because they fear its consequences. This fear takes many forms. Fear of being excluded, fear of losing one's position, fear of losing followers or funding, fear of confrontation with those who wield influence, and beneath all of it lies a more subtle fear. Fear of stepping into the role that the truth demands. Such silence is not benign. It is the silence of calculation, not submission. It is the silence that weighs cost and consequence and chooses comfort over courage. The Quran warns us of this dynamic when speaking of those who conceal the truth. In Quran, in Surah al-Baqarah, the chapter of the cow, chapter number 2, verse 159, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, indeed, those who conceal what we have sent down of manifest proofs and guidance after we have clarified it in the book for all mankind, they shall be cursed by God and cursed by the cursers. And the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, is reported to have said, and this is a universal hadith across the Sunnah and the Shia, whoever conceals knowledge will be bridled on the day of judgment with a bridle of fire. This is not about the scholar who is still learning or the speaker who is sincerely unsure. It is about the one who knows the truth, knows it must be clarified, and yet chooses silence because it would disturb the status quo, or worse, jeopardize their position. This kind of silence is deadly. It allows falsehood to spread uncontested, it leaves the people confused, it emboldens the distorters of religion and disheartens those seeking clarity. And perhaps most tragically, it allows a vacuum of leadership, which will inevitably be filled by voices that do not carry the legacy of the prophets. In Ziyarat Jamia al-Kabirah, we are taught to recognize and honor the Ahlul Bayt as those who defended the religion of God. This defense was not abstract. It was vocal. It was visible. It was willing to risk social isolation, imprisonment, and even death. And those who claim to be inheritors of its legacy must ask, what have we risked in defense of truth? Today we witness a new model of cleric, one who refines his language to the point of harmlessness. He becomes so calculated that no institution feels challenged, no tyrant feels rebuked, and no deviator feels exposed. His words circulate, but they never cut. His sermons are shared, but they never disturb. He becomes an asset to the status quo ante, all while believing he is serving the religion. This is not clarification. This is containment. Such a figure often receives praise precisely because he does not say what must be said. He gains popularity for his moderation, when in reality it is selective silence. He speaks enough to maintain credibility, but not enough to invite backlash. He becomes a master of soft tones and vague generalities, all the while ensuring that he remains comfortable and unthreatened. Let us now look at displacement and misdirection. When the obligation of Tabyeen is avoided, it rarely results in total silence. Indeed, it is displaced, replaced with something safer, easier, or more socially acceptable. The speaker does not retreat from the pulpit. He simply changes the subject. This is the danger of misdirection. The act of clarification continues outwardly, but inwardly it has been emptied of its purpose. It no longer strikes at falsehood, nor does it unveil confusion. It no longer aligns with the divine call to expose error and uphold truth. Instead, it becomes a well-packaged diversion. The Quran exposes this pattern in the behavior of past religious leaders. In the Quran, in Surah al-Baqarah, the chapter of the cow, second chapter of the Quran, verse number 85, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, "Do you then believe in a part of the book and disbelieve in a part?" This selective engagement, highlighting what is convenient while ignoring what is controversial, is not a form of wisdom. It is a form of betrayal. In our time, we often witness scholars and speakers who know full well what the ideological crisis of the community or the ummah is, who recognize the distortions being spread about divine leadership, the identity of the imam, the nature of Islamic governance, or the secular assault on Islamic values, but who instead redirect their discourse to less sensitive subjects. Some replace theological clarification with ethical storytelling. Others substitute the defense of wilayah with reminders about personal sincerity. When the issue of cultural invasion arises, they instead speak about spiritual refinement. And when the discourse should be centered on unveiling the tactics of global arrogance and the ideological colonization of Muslim minds, they retreat into generic invocations of unity and love. This is not a question of choosing between good and evil. It is a question of priority and placement. There is value in discussing ethics, personal development, and even economics. But when such subjects displace the critical clarifications of the hour, when they are used to avoid confrontation with distortion, they then become enablers of misguidance. Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq has warned of this confusion in religious priorities. He says, "When innovations become manifest in my ummah, the scholar must make his knowledge apparent. Whoever does not, upon him is the curse of God." This is heavy. This is not a casual warning. It is a declaration. The scholar who remains silent in times of distortion is cursed. And equally cursed is the scholar who speaks, but speaks of something else when the religion is under siege. It is not uncommon to see someone discuss akhlaq, ethics, manners, morals, virtues, while the principles of Quranic governance are being undermined. To speak of unity when falsehood is masquerading as reform. To invoke spirituality when the people are drowning in cultural invasion and secular seduction. To speak of the economy when the battlefield is the realm of values and beliefs. These are not isolated incidents. They form a pattern of avoiding clarity under the guise of wisdom. And so, we are left with a religious discourse that is elegant in delivery, but vacant in direction. It speaks often, but clarifies little. It pleases many, but awakens none. It moves the tongue, but it does not stir the conscience. Please give me a salawat and we move on to the consequences of avoidance.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
And what is the result of this evasion, this silence, this strategic misdirection? The result is that the truth remains veiled. The distorters of religion grow confident. The ideological colonizers find no resistance, and the believers, especially the youth, are left vulnerable, unarmed, and uncertain. Confusion spreads not only because the enemy speaks, but because the people of truth do not. This is the consequence of avoidance, a vacuum. And vacuums are never empty for long. When truth is not clarified, falsehood steps in to define the narrative. When the Quranic worldview is not defended, secularism and liberalism claim the moral high ground. When the legacy of Ahlul Bayt, peace and blessings be upon them, is not upheld and explained, it is appropriated, it is distorted, or worse, it is dismissed. The Holy Quran teaches us this law of human response. Quran, Surah Al-Isra, the chapter of the night journey, 17th chapter of the Quran, verse 81. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, "Say, truth has come and falsehood has vanished. Surely falsehood is bound to vanish." But note the wording. When the truth comes, falsehood vanishes. If it does not come, if it is not made manifest, then falsehood remains. The verse is not just a celebration of truth. Rather, it is a command to bring it forward. Imam Sadiq explained this further. He says, "Surely God, the mighty and the majestic, has made it obligatory upon the ignorant to learn and upon the learned to teach." This is not optional. It is divine duty, and to abandon it or to fulfill it in name while avoiding its substance, this is a form of betrayal, a form of treason. In every age, the Ahlul Bayt clarified the truths that others avoided. They did not limit themselves to abstract theology or personal ethics. They exposed Taghut. They called out hypocrisy. They defended divine leadership, not merely as belief, but as the rightful structure of society. They paid the price in blood, in exile, in torture, but they did not remain silent. If we in our age choose a softer path, if we adjust our message to avoid controversy, we must understand that we are not simply being moderate. Rather, we are contributing to the confusion. We are allowing the enemies of Islam to define Islam, while we become polite spectators, applauded for our balance, even as the truth is buried. When we fail to speak about wilayah, others speak about secularism. When we avoid clarifying the role of the Imam, others present distorted versions of leadership. When we ignore the cultural invasion, others shape our values through entertainment, education, and technology. And when we refuse to discuss the ideological war against Islam, others recruit our youth into the very systems that seek to dismantle their faith. And so we witness the strange phenomenon. Scholars discussing economics when the problem is cultural, spirituality when the issue is ideological, and etiquette when what is needed is resistance. This is not neutrality. It is negligence. So now let us look at what must be clarified. The question is not merely whether we speak. It is whether we clarify, and whether what we clarify is what God has made urgent in this moment. If we do not clarify the central truths of our time, the nature of divine authority, the identity of the Imam, the ideological threats, and the role of Islam as a living system, then we are not fulfilling the legacy of the prophets and Imams. We are simply preserving a shell, while the substance is hollowed out by others. Let us not be deceived by the sound of our voices. The Ummah does not need more speech. It needs truthful, timely, and targeted clarification, spoken with courage, rooted in revelation, and aimed at the heart of falsehood. Please give me a salawat and we move to the conclusion.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
So the subject's in need of clarification. If the mission of Tabyeen is to cut through confusion, expose distortion, and protect the ummah or community from ideological erosion, then it must begin with a question of conscience. Are we clarifying what truly needs to be clarified? This is not a theoretical concern. It is the very line that separates speech which uplifts the religion from speech which pacifies the people. In every age, the duty of the righteous has not been merely to speak, but to speak what is timely, targeted, and terrifying to the oppressors. When the enemies of Islam distort the role of the Imam, we must clarify wilayah. When they strip Islam of its political vision, we must reassert the prophetic model of governance. When they reduce religion to ritual, we must unveil its revolutionary soul. This is not extremism. This is fidelity. But this duty is not without costs. It demands courage, clarity, and insight. It requires that we defy the pressures of institutions, audiences, and even our own comfort. It asks that we prioritize truth over applause, responsibility over reputation, and divine approval over worldly peace. And yet clarification alone is not sufficient. What follows it? Once the truth has been clarified, once falsehood has been unmasked, and the duty made plain, then what is the response that is demanded of the listener? What does God expect of the one who now sees clearly? That is the next step in our journey. Just as there are subjects that demand clarification, so too are there responses that are expected. Responses rooted in faith, guided by insight, and protected from deviation. So in the next session, we will ask, what are the right responses to clarification? What distinguishes the insightful from the blind, the grateful from the arrogant, and the loyal from the betrayer? And how does the Quranic model of response differ from mere intellectual agreement or emotional enthusiasm? Clarification is the beginning. Response is the test. Please give me a salawat and we move on to the supplication eulogy, which today is titled The Prophet's Reflection about Ali al-Akbar.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
In his name, the Lord of the martyrs and the truthful. O God, send your blessings upon Muhammad and the family of Muhammad. O God, how many hearts can break in Karbala? How many fathers can bury their sons while still standing? Tonight, we remember the one whose face resembled the Prophet, not just in beauty, but in character, in courage, in speech, and in light. Ali al-Akbar, the eldest of the martyrs from the Prophet's blood. O my Lord, what did Hussein see when he looked into his son's eyes? Did he see the Quran descending? Did he see the call of Medina again? Did he hear in his voice the echo of his grandfather? They said, whenever we longed to see the Prophet, we looked at Ali al-Akbar. O God, the Imam sent him to the battlefield, but not without the weight of grief. He raised his hands and said, O God, bear witness against these people. There has come to them a youth most similar to your Prophet. Whenever we missed him, we looked at this boy. And he gave him permission, but with a heart bleeding before the swords had fallen. O my Lord, Ali al-Akbar rode out, not with fear, but with poise, not with the pride of lineage, but with the humility of prophethood. He fought fiercely. He cut through the enemy like light through darkness. He returned once, thirsty and breathless, and Hussein wept and placed his tongue in his son's mouth. Soon, O son, your grandfather will quench your thirst, and you will never thirst again. Then he went back, and the sword surrounded him. One struck his head and split it open. He cried, O my father, accept my salam. Hussein ran. He threw himself to the ground, held the broken body, and cried, O my son, O the light of my eyes. Oh, on whom shall I call now, Ali, O Ali? And when he brought his body back, the women of the camp wailed, for the Prophet's light had been extinguished. O Imam of our time, will you not raise your voice for the blood of the one who resembled your Prophet? Will you not call for vengeance for the broken heart of your grandfather Hussein? Let us be among those who resemble the Prophet in faith. Let our youth be like Ali al-Akbar in resolve. Let us answer the call of truth with the poise of those who know where they come from. O God, make us among those who resemble your Prophet in word and deed, in struggle and worship, and grant us a gaze from the eyes of Hussein as he looked upon his slaughtered son. Tonight we remember the father who buried the one who looked most like the messenger of God. We remember the boy who gave his blood as a final resemblance of the Prophet to a world that had turned its back on his truth. Tonight we say, let us carry his light. Let our lives resemble his courage. Let our hearts resemble his purity. Let us die like Ali al-Akbar, with our faces towards Karbala and our eyes fixed on eternity. وآخر الدعوان عن الحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
We now move to the eulogy or Maqtal segment of our program, where we remember the epic of Ashura and the stand of Imam Hussein as well as his family and companions. A Maqtal is essentially a eulogy or remembering of the epic of Ashura, so as to learn from it, but also to develop an emotional connection to Imam Hussein. This is also designed to educate us and to embed the message of Imam Hussein into our hearts. Mourning and weeping is normal during the Maqtal, and indeed it is something blessed, for when a person listens to and reflects on the tragedy that befell, not just Imam Hussein, but rather that befell Islam, a mere 50 years after the passing of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him and his family, truly it is heartbreaking. The Maqtal this evening will be the Martyrdom of Ali al-Akbar. This segment will be available on The Martyr, located at www.themartyr.net.
Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ahli baytihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin al-ma'sumin. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. Hazrat Ali Akbar alayhi salam was born in Medina, the son of Imam Hussein alayhi salam and Layla bint Abu Murrah. was a lady from the Banu Thaqif. Before Hazrat al-Akbar alayhi salam was born, Imam Hussein alayhi salam had prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant him a son who resembled his grandfather, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Hazrat al-Akbar alayhi salam resembled his grandfather, the Holy Prophet, in every way, not only in his facial features, but also his speech, mannerisms, and walking. The people who remembered the Holy Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would often come to visit Hazrat al-Akbar alayhi salam. Al-Akbar was a student of his uncle Abbas, who taught him the battlefield skills of archery, horse riding, and sword fighting. Upon leaving Medina with his father, al-Akbar bade farewell to his sister Fatima Sughra, who did not travel to Karbala. Fatima Sughra told al-Akbar, "Oh, my beloved brother, when will I see you again? I cannot bear to be separated from you." Al-Akbar replies to his sister, "Oh, my dearest sister, make dua that I return soon, inshallah." Fatima Sughra asks al-Akbar to leave an impression of his footprint in the sand near the entrance to the house, so she could look at it whenever she remembered him. On the way to Karbala, a dialogue occurs between Imam Hussein alayhi salam and Hazrat al-Akbar alayhi salam. Imam Hussein alayhi salam wakes up from a dream where he sees his companions being slaughtered and loudly exclaims, "Verily we are from Allah, and unto him shall we return." Holy Quran, chapter 2, verse 156. All praise belongs to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. Al-Akbar was surprised and asked his father, "Oh, my father, why did you recite this verse?" Imam Hussein alayhi salam replies, "Oh, my son, I fell asleep, and in my dream I heard a horseman saying that this caravan moves on and death is following them. So I have learned that death would come soon." Al-Akbar replies, "Oh, my father, are we not on truth?" Imam Hussein replies, "My son, if we are not on truth, then who else would be on truth?" Al-Akbar then says finally, "If we are upon truth, then it matters not whether death comes to us or we travel towards death." On the day of Ashura, at the time of Fajr, Imam Hussein alayhi salam sends al-Akbar to recite the Azan. When the enemy hears this, some of them became confused, believing this was the voice of the Prophet, and this created some disquiet in the enemy ranks. Umar Saad tells his men, "This is not the Prophet, it is Ali, the son of Hussein." The sound of crying was audible from the camp of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, knowing that this would be the last time they would hear al-Akbar's azan. When the companions were fighting, al-Akbar, along with his uncle Abbas and his cousins, defended the camp of Imam Hussein alayhi salam from enemy attacks. Following the martyrdom of all the companions, it was finally time for the family members of Imam Hussein alayhi salam to enter the battle. Al-Akbar approaches Imam Hussein and asks him, "Father, I am requesting your permission to go and fight the enemies of Islam." Imam Hussein alayhi salam looks lovingly at his son and tells him, "Akbar, you have my permission. May Allah be with you. But before you go, you must say farewell to the ladies, especially to your Aunt Zainab." When the ladies saw Akbar, they wept bitterly and began to grab hold of his cloak. Sayyidah Zainab looks at the face of Akbar and says, "Akbar, are you really leaving us?" Akbar replies, "Oh, my aunt, I must go and defend my father and the religion of my grandfather from these enemies." Hussein ibn Ali helped his youthful son to mount the horse. al-Akbar began to ride towards the battlefields. He heard footsteps from behind. He looked back and saw his father. He said, "Father, we have said goodbye. Why are you walking behind me?" Imam Hussein replies, "My son, had you been the father of a son like me, you would have surely understood." Imam Hussein alayhi salam was watching the fight of al-Akbar and shouted, "O son of Saad, may God block your generation the way you blocked mine and did not respect my relationship with the Prophet. May Allah assign someone to rule over you who beheads you in your bed." He then continued, "O Allah, I hold you witness upon these people. Against them a man who has gone to fight, who is the most alike among people in appearance, manner and speech to your messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. O Allah, when I loved to see your Prophet, we looked at him, al-Akbar alayhi salam." Then Imam utters the following words, "O Allah, prohibit the blessings of the earth from them and make disunity among them and severely tear them apart and place them in different factions. Do not make statesmen and rulers happy with them. They actually invite us to support us, but they became our enemy and began fighting us while they themselves had invited us." When Hazrat al-Akbar alayhi salam enters the battlefield, he is recognized. He is recognized by the enemy, as his mother Layla was a maternal cousin of Yazid. A man from the enemy side offers him amnesty on account of his relationship with Yazid. However, al-Akbar alayhi salam tells him, "Only my relationship with the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and his family is to be valued." al-Akbar, after rejecting the amnesty from Umar ibn Saad, recites the following epitaph: "I am Ali, son of Hussein, the son of Ali. By the house of Allah, the Kaaba, I swear we are the closest to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. By Allah, this son of adultery cannot rule over us. I will kill you by the sword and support my father." A blow of sword by a young Hashemite from Quraysh. In his first fight, al-Akbar alayhi salam attacked the army of Kufa in the left and right and center. None of them managed to resist him. They say he dropped 120 horsemen in his attacks, while thirst had taken away his strength. Imam Hussein alayhi salam is standing by the entrance to the tent, and the mother of al-Akbar approaches him. Addressing her husband, she says, "O master, I wish to see my son one last time." Imam Hussein alayhi salam tells her, "The supplication of the mother is always accepted. Make supplication to Allah that you see your son again." The mother of al-Akbar and other ladies recite the following supplication: "O the one who returned Yusuf unto Yaqub, return my son to me." al-Akbar returns to the tent and asks his father for water. His father cries out as he has no water to offer. However, he tells al-Akbar, "My son, suck on my tongue, perhaps you will get some moisture from it." al-Akbar sucks on the tongue of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, but immediately removes it from his mouth, telling his father, "O father, your tongue is even drier than mine." al-Akbar alayhi salam returns to the battlefield for a second time and resumes his jihad, killing a further 200 from the enemy ranks. Murrah ibn Munthid calls out, I accept responsibility for the sins of the Arabs if I do not make his father mournful for his death. He strikes al-Akbar on the head, making him disorientated. Another from the enemy army, Hassan bin Namir, creeps up on al-Akbar and launches a spear at him with such ferocity that it pierces his chest and lodges in his liver. al-Akbar alayhi salam falls from his horse and calls out, O my father, my final farewell to you. As he hits the ground, the spear breaks but remains lodged in his chest. Upon hearing the cry of his son, Imam Hussein alayhi salam rushes to the battlefield. He reaches al-Akbar with the spear lodged in his chest, about to attain martyrdom. al-Akbar tells his father, O father, I remember my sister Fatima Suhra. I wish to see her one final time. Imam Hussein alayhi salam lifts his finger and al-Akbar sees his sister sat next to his footprints crying. al-Akbar alayhi salam begins to cry and tells his father, O father, I now see the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He has brought me a drink of water. Imam Hussein alayhi salam tries to pull the broken spear from Akbar's chest. He calls out to his father, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, O Ali, you lifted the gate of Khaybar, but you never had to remove a spear from the chest of your young son. As Imam Ali alayhi salam pulled the spear, it rips the liver of al-Akbar and he attains martyrdom. Imam Hussein alayhi salam threw himself on the body of al-Akbar and put his cheek on his son's cheek. Imam Hussein cursed the enemies. May Allah kill the people who killed you. He then said, O my son, how rude and shameful these people are, and they disrespect the holiness of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And continued, after you, O my son, woe be to this world. Imam alayhi salam then took a handful of al-Akbar's blood and threw it towards the sky, and not a drop of that blood spilled on the ground. Imam Hussein alayhi salam and the youths of Bani Hashim moved the body of al-Akbar alayhi salam back to the tents. Sayyidah Zainab alayhi salam and the other ladies weep and fall on the body of al-Akbar alayhi salam. Peace be upon you, O son of the Messenger of Allah. Peace be upon you, O son of the Prophet of Allah. Peace be upon you, O son of the Commander of the Faithful. Peace be upon you, O son of Hussein the Martyr. Peace be upon you, O Martyr. Peace be upon you, O oppressed and the son of an oppressed. Curse of Allah be on those who persecuted you. Curse of Allah be on those who heard about this and were satisfied. وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيَّ مُنْقَلَبٌ يَنْقَلِبُونَ إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ صلوات على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه.
Now we will have lamentations, commonly known as Noha or Latmiyat in Muslim culture. These again are in English. These are poetry put to a tune, a type of song, a lamentation. These can be listened to with reflection and thought, and as per the cultural norm within most Muslim cultures and societies, there is the gentle beating of the chest in mourning as the lamentation proceeds. This beating of the chest is known as matam. It should be noted that this is not something that should draw blood or cause harm. Rather, it is a manifestation of grief on the part of the listener as they are moved by the words of poetry. The lamentations for this evening are named I Am Ashamed, and the second one is I Saw Hussein. This segment will be available on Shia Sounds, located at www.shiasounds.com.
أبا عبد الله 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 Alas, all the vows that I took in my youth are lost, my love, my heart. It forgot how to hold to the blessed rope of truth. Oh, how I wasted all my youth, foolishly fled the word of truth. Yet here I stand as like a proof. For your open arms do not accuse. I have betrayed you, my first love. I am ashamed. Hussein, oh tell me what have I become, for I am ashamed. Hussein, for me you gave your precious blood, now I am ashamed. Hussein, Aba Abdillah, Aba Abdillah, Aba Abdillah, Aba Abdillah. My love, I remember your pain and your broken heart, Hussein. You showed me the path that the morning would gain. If I wasn't brave like sweet Abbas, I was disarmed by foolishness. My eyes were blinded by my nafs. Yet neath your flag I stand at last. Hear my prayer, raise it aloft, for I am ashamed to say, how can I ever bear the cost? For I am ashamed, Hussein. Without your love I'm surely lost. I am ashamed, Hussein. Aba Abdillah, Aba Abdillah, Aba Abdillah, Aba Abdillah. My voice has been silent and fearful when I should have spoken aloud for you. My eyes were averted when they should have witnessed your holy truth. But I didn't stand like these Zaynab. I wore shackles of worldliness instead. On new horizons there is spread nothing but Ashura ahead. Let me recite your eulogies for I am ashamed. Hussein, let me rejoice in unity, for I am ashamed. Hussein, oh, let me breathe your sanctity, for I am ashamed. Hussein, Aba Abdillah, Aba Abdillah, Aba Abdillah, Aba Abdillah. The lost, the oppressed and the orphans, the souls of loneliness, their tears I ignore through my hard-hearted carelessness. I didn't defend Ali Asghar, I didn't have love within. My soul is wounded and so scarred, so now I cry out to my Lord, Ya Rabbi, Ya Sayyidi, I am ashamed. Hussein, Ya Nur, Ya Quddus, I am ashamed. Hussein, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, I am ashamed. Hussein, Aba Abdillah, Aba Abdillah, Aba Abdillah, Aba Abdillah. Rejoice, for Allah, He has opened the door and He will forgive. Hussein, how He opens our hearts and He gives us the hope to live. Oh, let us learn from our Hussein, lest Ashura should be in vain. At Karbala, that dreadful plain, nothing but beauty, our refrain. Every tear shed at your grave means there's no shame. Hussein, every beat upon my chest means there's no shame. Hussein, all of the mention of your name means there's no shame. Hussein, rejoice, for Allah, He has opened the door and He will forgive. Hussein, how He opens our hearts and He gives us the hope to live. Oh, let us learn from our Hussein, lest Ashura should be in vain. At Karbala, that dreadful plain, nothing but beauty, our refrain. Every tear shed at your grave means there's no shame. Hussein, every beat upon my chest means there's no shame. Hussein, all of the mention of your name means there's no shame. Hussein, Aba Abdillah, Aba Abdillah, Aba Abdillah. Abdillah, Aba Abdillah. I journeyed for 1,000 years, shackled in shame. Burning was I, blistered my soul, tortured in pain. Witnessed then I such a sight, burdened my eyes at the plight I saw Hussein. I saw Hussein. I saw Hussein. I saw Hussein. I journeyed for 1,000 years, shackled in shame. Burning was I, blistered my soul, tortured in pain. Witnessed mine eye such a sight, burdened my eyes at the plight I saw Hussein. I saw Hussein. I saw Hussein. I saw Hussein. Oh, my feet felt heat of burning sand, oh, the sin and shame upon my hands. I had searched to find a friendly face. Seems at last I'd found him in this place. Seemed at last I'd found him in this place. So I cried out, Master, it is I, the despised one of the Lord on high. For my life has fallen into sin. There is naught to quench the thirst within. There is naught to quench the thirst within. I journeyed for 1,000 years, shackled in shame. Burning was I, blistered my soul, tortured in pain. Witnessed then I such a sight, burdened my eyes at the plight I saw Hussein. I saw Hussein. I saw Hussein. I saw Hussein. From my master not the slightest sound as he raised his head from off the ground. Not a drop of water could be seen, but his tears fell like a flowing stream. But his tears fell like a flowing stream. My eyes fixed upon this righteous scene, Oh, this man was joy and love serene. Oh, the veils of doubt fell from my eyes, for my heart now surely realized. For my heart surely had realized. I have journeyed for 1,000 years, shackled in shame. Burning was I, blistered my soul, tortured in pain. Witness that I, such a sight, burdened my eyes at the plight I saw Hussein. I saw Hussein. I saw Hussein. I saw Hussein. Hussein's dwelling truth within my soul. How repentant surely is my goal. How the lonesome put their trust in him. The broken-hearted feel a hope within. The broken-hearted feel a hope within. Oh, the joy flowing throughout my veins to embrace him on that holy plain. Oh, to kiss that sweet and loving face. Surely this must be a wondrous place. Surely this must be a wondrous place. For I had journeyed for 1,000 years, shackled in shame. Burning was I, blistered my soul, tortured in pain. Witnessed then I such a sight, burdened mine eyes at the clock. I saw Hussein, I saw Hussein, I saw Hussein, I saw Hussein. Though I ran to touch his blessed hand, how my feet sank in the shifting sand. Try I might, no progress did I make. Oh, but I felt the earth begin to quake. Oh, I felt the earth begin to quake. Suddenly, as if the world were bow, the 7 heavens formed into a shroud. My master's face disfigured by his blood, silenced I, though screaming where I stood. Silenced I, though screaming where I stood. I turned away, the sight I could not bear, the stench of evil filling all the air. My beloved laid out on the dust, the holy path, the only one to trust. The holy path, the only one to trust. I heard a voice so gentle and so sweet. Chains were bound around her hands and feet. Beauty surely is all I have seen. Oh, the words that saved me from my dream. Oh, the words that saved me from my dream. I awoke, but in a pool of tears, all my sins were gone from all the years. Through Hussein, my faith had been restored, a perfect standing now before my Lord. A perfect standing now before my Lord. I journeyed for 1,000 years, shackled in shame. Burning was I, blistered my soul, tortured in pain. Witness then I such a sight, burdened mine eyes at the flight. I saw Hussein, I saw Hussein, I saw Hussein, I saw Hussein. Now awoke, my heart is not afraid, for the journey that my soul has made, for that misery at Karbala enables us to love and trust Allah. For He taught us all the way to fight the deceiver who would steal our right to bow unto a righteous Lord and to dwell before a holy God. For the love of God must dwell again in the hearts of those who love Hussein. Let us rise above the worldly call. Let us teach His truth to one and all. Let us teach His truth to one and all. Peace be unto you, O sweet Hussein, and bring peace to those who call your name. All creation needs your holy face. Truly you are found in every place. Peace be unto you, O sweet Hussein, and bring peace to those who call your name. All creation needs your holy face. Truly you are found in every place. Truly you are found in every place. I journeyed for 1,000 years, shackled in shame. Burning was I, blistered my soul, tortured in pain. Witnessed then I such a sight, burdened mine eyes at the plight. I saw Hussein, 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 I saw Hussein. I saw Hussein, I saw Hussein.
The final item in our program is the Communion of Ashura. This is a contemporary, poetic, interpretive translation of the well-known salutations to Imam Hussein known as Ziyarat Ashura, or the Visitation of Ashura. The Truth Promoters Group, in a world first, has taken the content of Ziyarat Ashura and translated it in a modern, poetic, and most importantly, interpretive manner, both so that it is understandable to the English-speaking audience, but also so that it helps with the understanding of this profound visitation. This segment will be available on Shia Sounds, located at www.shiasounds.com.
Peace be upon you, O Hussein, beloved of the Prophet, lifeblood of his message, bearer of sorrow, breaker of chains. Peace be upon you, O son of the messenger of God, whose footsteps you followed into the fire so we might walk free beneath the sky. Peace be upon you, O son of Ali, lion of God, fountain of courage. You stood as he stood, firm against a world of betrayal. Peace be upon you, O son of Fatima, light of her eyes, echo of her prayer. Through your grief, the purity of your mother lives on. O Hussein, they gave everything, so we might remember who we are. Peace be upon you, O one whose blood cries out for divine justice. O son of the martyrs whose stand still shakes the heavens. You the lonely one, unmatched, a solitary star surrounded by a night of betrayal. Peace be upon you and upon the souls who remained beside you, those who encamped in your courtyard, whose bones became the boundary of your shrine. O Hussein, how I long to be among them, to have knelt in your dust, waiting for your command, to have fallen with your name on my lips, to belong to your tent, to never leave your side, not in this world nor the next. Let the peace of God be upon you and them always. As long as I breathe and night and day continue their rhythm, my soul is yours. O Aba Abdullah, your tragedy was not only ours. The skies themselves wept, the stars dimmed, and the angels fell silent in horror. What they did to you, they do still, to every free voice, to every defiant heart that says no to tyranny. They silenced your cry in Karbala and echoed it in Gaza, in Kashmir, in the broken streets of Damascus, and in the gilded rooms of Washington, Tel Aviv, and London, where power matters more than people, where blood is cheap and honor is nothing. And yet, the people sleep. They binge distraction while the earth burns. They scroll through laughter while the children starve. They cheer for tyrants masked as leaders and do not see the caravan of Hussein. Still walking, still bleeding, still calling us to wake. O Hussein, the calamity is great, but our forgetfulness may be even greater. May God distance from His mercy those who built the house of tyranny stone by stone, calling it governance, calling it religion, but laying it on the bones of the oppressed. May He cast far from His mercy those who stripped you, O people of the house, of the stations that were your divine due, and gave them to cowards, frauds, and liars in robes. May He exclude from His mercy those who murdered you with steel, and those who murdered truth with silence. And may He cast away all who make room for tyranny, who excuse it, who fund it, who defend it in panels and parliaments. O Hussein, may He cast away those who smile while others starve, who speak of reform while breaking the backs of the weak, who let the sick die while guarding the wealth of the rich, who kill the unborn in the name of comfort, and the elderly in the name of mercy. They are today's court of Yazid, still robed in piety, still drunk on blood. And I want nothing of them, nothing. I wash my hands before God and before you, O Hussein, of them, of their followers, of their allies, of every voice that justified their crimes, every pen that signed their decrees, every tongue that stayed silent while they spilled your blood. O Aba Abdullah, I am with those who are with you. My peace is only for those who loved you, who lived and died by your name. And I am at war with those who stood against you, in every age, in every land, in every disguise. Whether they wore crowns or turbans, held swords or microphones, built palaces or platforms. I am at war with them until the day when all masks fall. My God, cast far from His mercy the house of Ziyarat, a dynasty of cruelty dressed as order, and the house of Marwan, masters of deceit, who poisoned revelation with ambition. May He cast out the Umayyads, all of them, every name, every banner, every doctrine of power that drowned prophecy in politics. May He cast away Ibn Marjan, the bureaucrat of blood, and Umar ibn Sa'd, who traded eternity for a piece of land, and Shim, that beast who laughed at the tears of Zaynab. And may He reject those who prepared for this slaughter, those who saddled their beasts, buckled their weapons, and veiled their faces, not in shame, but in resolve. They marched not by force, but by choice. O Hussein, their faces changed, but their paths remain. They still ride out today in uniforms, in suits, in think tanks and war rooms, crushing your name wherever it rises. And I stand apart from all of them, and I name them so that their silence will never bury your screams. May my father be your ransom. May my mother be your ransom. Oh Hussein, what they did to you has broken me. My heart is heavy with your grief. My soul aches with the weight of your absence. And yet, even in my mourning, I am honored. For God lifted me through you. He let me know your name. He made your sorrow my compass. So I beg him, the one who raised your station in the world and raised my soul through your love, let me rise for you. Let me be among those who avenge your blood, not with blind fury, but under a guided banner, a victorious Imam, a descendant of your house, a voice that carries your cry into the end of time. Let my hand be with his. Let my heart be ready. Let me be worthy of your justice. O God, make me honored in your sight, not because of who I am, but because I loved Hussein. Let his name be my key, his memory my robe, his cause my shield, his tears my passport to you. Let me walk in this world carrying his light, and let me stand in the next world with his name upon my lips, a name that you love, a soul that you elevated, a martyr whose blood wrote the meaning of honor. By Hussein, make me worthy of your nearness in this fleeting world and in the world that endures. O Aba Abdullah, I seek nearness to God, but not through neutrality, not through slogans, not through prayers that ignore the oppressed. I seek nearness through you, through the prophet who kissed you, through the father who raised you, through the mother who wept for you, through the brother who stood beside you. I draw close to the divine by loving you, and by disavowing those who drew swords against you, who declared war on your truth, who institutionalized injustice and dressed it in piety. I disown before God and his messengers every hand that laid the first stone of oppression, every architect of injustice, every regime built on your blood. I walk away from all of it, from every path that led to your murder, even if it now wears a new name, a new crown, a new constitution. Your cause is my prayer. Your war is my witness. Your love is my path to God. I renounce them before God and before you, O Hussein. I cut all ties with those who wronged you, and those who walked beside them, and those who came after them, and carried their banners. I seek nearness to God through your light, through loyalty to you and your chosen ones, to your friend, your witness, your inheritance. And I distance myself from your enemies, from those who raised armies against you, from those who plotted in back rooms, signed decrees, or stood idly by as your blood flowed. I distance myself from their shadows, from their supporters, from their media machines, from their apologizers and diplomats, from all who softened their crimes or mimicked their structures. O Hussein, to love you means to oppose what killed you, always, everywhere, in every generation. I am with those who are with you, O Hussein. I am with those who are with you, O Hussein. I walk beside the ones who love you, who carry your truth in their hearts, who defend your memory not only in words but in action. And I am against those who stand against you, no matter their flag, their religion, their language, their disguise. I am your ally, and the ally of those who align with your cause, those who choose dignity over comfort, clarity over compromise, blood over betrayal. And I am an enemy to your enemies, to their rhetoric, to their institutions, to their logic, to their entire way of being. You are the axis, you are the criterion. To love you is to take a side forever. Oh God, you honored me beyond what I deserve. For you let me know Hussein. You let me recognize the friends of Hussein. You opened my eyes to the deceit of his enemies and gave me the strength to walk away from them. So now I beg you, let me be amongst your friends, not just in love, but in cause, not just in belief, but in destiny. Let me live in their path, let me die upon their path, let me rise with them when you raise the dead. Plant my feet among theirs, a footing of truth that does not shake with fear, does not slip in temptation, does not bow before oppressors. Let me be theirs in this life and in the life that never ends. And I ask you, O God, let me reach that radiant place, the honored station that you have reserved for them. Let me be drawn near in their light. Let my name be spoken in the halls of truth, not for who I am, but because I stood for Hussein. And grant me the honor to seek justice, not from anger, but from love. to rise and answer the call, to be among the soldiers of your final proof, a guiding imam from their blood, visible and unafraid, speaking truth in an age of noise. Let me see him, let me serve him, let me die at his side, with the name of Hussein still burning upon my lips. And I ask you, O God, by their right, by the place they hold in your nearness, by the rank you gave them above all others, let my sorrow not be wasted. Let these tears be not mere water, but offerings. Let my broken heart be a prayer, my mourning a ladder. Reward me through this grief with the greatest reward you have ever given to one struck by tragedy. For what greater loss was there? What wound ever bled like this one? What blow shook Islam and the very heavens and the earth as deeply as the slaying of Hussein? This is not just my sadness. It is your grief, O God, reflected in my soul. So let that reflection never fade. O God, here I stand, heart heavy, eyes wet, soul trembling. I am not worthy, but I am here. So in this very moment, in this divine place of mourning, in this sacred remembrance of Hussein, wrap me in your mercy. Let your peace and blessing descend upon me. Let your compassion find me. Let your forgiveness embrace me. Let this moment mark me. Let this grief cleanse me. Let this loyalty exalt me. Let me not leave this remembrance the same as I entered it. Oh God, let my life be like theirs, not in ease, but in meaning. Let me live as Muhammad lived, in mercy, in truth, in struggle for justice. Let me walk the path of his family with clarity, with courage, with compassion. And let my death be like theirs, a testament, a stand, a submission to you alone. Let me not be remembered for comfort, but for conviction. Let me not die in distraction, but in devotion. O God, write me among those who lived and died under the banner of Muhammad and his purified family. O God, this day, the day of mourning, the day of blood upon sand, the day when your prophet's family was butchered, they called it a blessing. The tyrants rejoiced, Bani Umayyah celebrated Yazid, the son of the liver eater, the one whose heart was dark with vengeance. He danced on the chest of Hussein. He who was excluded from your mercy and whose mother chewed the flesh of the righteous was praised in the courts of power. But you cursed them, O God, and so did your prophet. From every pulpit, in every stance he ever made for truth. This is not politics. This is treason against mercy. And we remember, we name them, we stand apart from their legacy. Then, now, and forever. O God, remove from your mercy the one who plotted, the one who schemed, the one who sealed the deal. Abu Sufyan, the enemy who smiled and waited. Mu'awiyah, the serpent in the cloak of unity. Yazid, the drunken tyrant who trampled prophecy. Make your distance from them be eternal as their betrayal. May your rejection of them never cease. For this is the day that they rejoiced. The day Ziyarat and Marwan raised their glasses, laughed while Zainab wept, boasted of killing Hussein as a victory. God, they rejoiced in his death. Let them not rejoice in your presence. Multiply their estrangement. Amplify their punishment. Let the pain they inflicted return to them, not out of hatred, but out of divine justice. O God, I'm not just remembering history, I'm walking towards you. This day, this stand, this moment of grief is my offering. Through my rejection of their killers, through my disavowal of their empire, through my refusal to forget, I seek your nearness. Let my righteous wrath and supplication that you exclude them from your mercy be a lantern. Let my sorrow be a stairway. Let my refusal to compromise be worship. And through all of this, I reaffirm my loyalty to your prophet and to the ones he wept for. The family he held closest, the blood he told us never to forget. But my love is not empty. It is not ritual or poetry or song alone. To love them is to follow them, to walk where they walked, to rise where they rose, to stand across generations against the same arrogance, the same injustice, the same godless empires in new disguises. It is to love as they loved, to resist as they resisted, to live as they lived, and to die as they died. This is not just love. It is allegiance. It is a covenant. And in this moment, I renew my vow in word, in soul, and in stance. O God, exclude from your mercy the first tyrant who trampled upon the right of Muhammad's family, the one who planted the seed of betrayal, who saw power and chose it over truth. He opened the gate, and many rushed through after him. So exclude the last one who follows his path, every imitator, every modern version, every politician or preacher who builds on that first distortion. O God, exclude from your mercy the clique who rose against Hussein. They weren't just soldiers, they were planners, they were influencers. They wrote articles, gave speeches, signed treaties, justified tyranny. They supported, they pledged, they obeyed, they killed. And that betrayal continues. Even today, there are those who wear black for Hussein, but stand with the very systems that killed him. They claim to mourn him, but their silence defends Yazid. Their fear enables tyranny. Their alliances stab the heart of his son, the awaited one. O God, how many claim to wait for the Mahdi, while crushing every cause he would rise for? So exclude from your mercy all who inherit this legacy, not just in name but in action. Those who held the swords, those who carried the ink, those who watched and said nothing, and those who still do. In robes, in suits, in silence. This is not hatred, this is honesty. This is cleansing the record. This is standing beside Hussein and saying, we have not forgotten and we have not been deceived. Peace be upon you, O Aba Abdullah. Peace be upon your shattered body, your thirsty lips. Peace be upon you, O Aba Abdullah. Peace be upon your shattered body, your thirsty lips, your prostration upon the burning earth. Peace be upon the souls that encamped in your courtyard. Peace be upon the souls that encamped in your courtyard, not for shade or safety, but to die beside truth. From me to you, an unending peace. As long as I breathe, as long as night follows day, my heart is turned towards Karbala. And may God never make this the last time I call your name. Never the last time I whisper your pain or walk the road that leads to your banner. Peace be upon you, O Hussein, and upon Ali your son, the patient, the broken prisoner, the speaking tongue of grief. And peace be upon your children, cut down in their bloom, buried in blood, rising in light. And peace upon your companions, who gave more than words, who gave more than tears, who gave themselves. And in this very breath, as I send peace to you, I pledge my soul to your son, the Qari, on who will rise, of your blood, the Mahdi, the one who will rise to avenge your name. My allegiance is not in slogans, It is in obedience. It is in sacrifice. It is in unwavering loyalty. Until he returns, my allegiance is with his deputy, the righteous leader who guards his path, the Wali al-Faqih, guardian of your legacy, guide of this ummah. I follow what they command, I walk where they lead, I do not waver, for we are the children of the covenant, the ones who said, among the believers are men who have been true to their covenant with God. Some of them have fulfilled their vow, and others still await. But they have never changed in the least. And I say now, O Hussein, count me among them. O God, begin from me the exclusion from your mercy. For the first one who violated the right of Muhammad and his family, let it begin with him and extend to the second and the third and the fourth. Exclude from your mercy Yazid and Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad and Ibn Marjan and Umar ibn Sa'd and Shim, and not just them, but all those who carry their traits, those who betray truth, who serve tyranny, who give sermons that silence resistance, who wear robes while enabling injustice. The house of Abu Sufyan, the house of Ziyad, the house of Marwan are not just of blood, they are of action. And we ask you, O God, to exclude from your mercy every manifestation of that betrayal, past, present, and future, as long as night follows day. And now, O God, we do not ask you for heaven. We do not ask you for palaces or gardens. We do not seek reward. We seek you. We ask only for your pleasure, that you allow us to serve you, to work in your path, to stand for your truth, to live with dignity, to die with loyalty. Count us among those who have been true to their covenant, those who remembered the pledge made before time began and never turned away from it. Among the believers are men who have been true to their covenant with God. Some of them have fulfilled their vow, and others still await. But they have never changed in the least. O God, let us be of them. Let us die with Hussein's name on our tongues, and rise with the Mahdi's banner in our hands.
With the communion of Ashura, we bring our program to a close for this evening. God willing, we will be back tomorrow, same time, same place, with His grace, for our program for the 9th of Muharram, 1447. We pray that He, God, accepts from us, and that this has been useful, educational, and beneficial to the viewers. If you found this session useful, then please do subscribe, like the videos, and share with your friends and family, and anyone else who you feel might find it useful and educational. Please also visit our website, www.truthpromoters.com, and from there you can find all of our sites, and read the write-ups for the Quranic verses, the couplets, the lecture, the eulogy or Maqtal, the lamentations, and of course, the main lecture, as well as view the videos and listen to the audios. Peace be upon you, O Prophet of God. Peace be upon you, O Imam Hussein. Peace be upon the inheritor of Imam Hussein, our beloved Imam Mahdi. May our souls be his ransom. Peace and blessings to you and to all of God's righteous servants.